This is Unit 1, Week 3, Question 2, Part H, Lexington and Concord. 'Twas the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive that remembers the fateful day and year of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. All right, this is so overtaught, it almost makes the Boston Tea Party look like it's something people are unaware of. All right, first of all, Paul Revere gets famous because his name rhymes. He doesn't even complete the task he's on. What are Lexington and Concord? They're two little tiny bedroom communities. They still are. They're little posh places outside of Boston. But they're where the Minutemen, the colonial extremist little farmers, are training to defend their towns. A bunch of farmers training in military, gathering weapons and supplies. And so what is the connection to that? The British soldiers, military, want to capture the leaders of these upstart radical colonists. They want to find their supply of weapons. They want to put and arrest John Adams and John Hancock and other leaders of the Minutemen and the Sons of Liberty radicals in Boston. So, the colonists find out. I don't think that's correct. The British find out that there's a meeting out there, and they're going to go out and capture these leaders. And they send out their troops. They cross by water. Hence, Paul Revere puts 2 lamps in the little church steeple tower, so they know that they're coming by sea. They're crossing by water, and then the British troops are marching out. By the time they get there, Billy Dawes, Paul Revere, and Dr. Prescott, 3 horseback riders, are going out at high speed to try to warn the colonial leaders and warn the Minutemen that they're coming. Revere gets captured. The other 2 get through, but Revere's name rhymes better, so Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and the schoolboy poets memorialize Revere into this great figure. What's he probably more significant for? The Boston Massacre engraving and designing some early metal, copper coating for American warships. But no one ever hears about that. So they arrive at Lexington. What happens? British troops, highly trained, are marching out. A bunch of farmers are meeting on the town green, the town central little part of the park. No one knows who fired the first shot. I can tell you who fired the first, well, how does one politely say this? If one is extremely nervous and a bathroom is not closely located, I'm imagining that's what every farmer had happen to them. These are not trained soldiers. They're facing British regulars. They scatter, they run away. They fire some shots. But their goal is to slow the British down, and they're on their way to Concord. When they finally get to Concord, a bunch of the Minutemen have met on one side of the Old North Bridge. Another big famous poem. And there stood the bridge where once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. It's not even the first shot that day. Or that night, I should say. They gather at Concord, they stop the British troops, they prevent them from getting and finding where the cache of the colonial weapons and supplies. They don't capture any of the leaders. They return to town, to Boston. As they're going back to town, people are firing on them from roofs, trees, behind. We're talking guerrilla warfare here, highly unacceptable in the rules of military decorum and practice around the globe. But 273 British are shot down and less than 100 colonists by the time the British return to Boston. This news spreads like wildfire through the colonies. Most people thinking, whoa, this is scary. We don't actually want to fight the most powerful army and navy on earth when we have some hunting rifles and some extreme nutjob farmers in Massachusetts. It's still a year before there's actually a Declaration of Independence. But this is, in all intents and purposes, sort of the spark of the American Revolution. A couple skirmishes that further radicalize groups and show that, there's actually been bloodshed now, and that lead towards the pattern that's eventually going to result in the American Revolution, although it's still more than a year off before they even declare independence. And thanks for joining the Happy House of History and some guy in a Hawaiian shirt.